Welcome to Home Library Book Review, where we select a book right from the shelf and explain its learning through easy to understand text, graphics, examples, and animation, along with discussion with family members.
Today, we are going to review Ikigai by Hector Garcia and Francis Mirel.
This book is an international bestseller. It has the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. We have divided this review in 9 parts. This is part 3 of 9. It also has Goodreads rating of 4 out of 5. Hector Garcia is a citizen of Japan, where he has lived for over a decade, and of Spain, where he was born. He is the author of several books about Japanese culture, including 2 worldwide bestsellers, A Geek in Japan and Ikigai. A former software engineer, he worked at Sen in Switzerland before moving to Japan. Francis Miralles is an award-winning author who has written a number of best-selling self-help and inspirational books. Born in Barcelona, he studied journalism, English literature, and German, and has worked as an editor, a translator, a ghostwriter, and a musician. Before we move further, Arnav, what is Ikigai?
I think Ikigai means purpose.
Yes, it could also be a motive. It can also be a cause. It could also be called as a reason. And it could be the impetus that derives you. Ikigai is a Japanese term that means your life's purpose or why you get up in the morning. I can't wait to review further. How about you, Arnav?
Let's get started! Yay!
Part 3: How to live longer and better by finding your purpose. What is logotherapy? A colleague once asked Viktor Frankl to define his school of psychology in a single phrase, to which Frankl replied, "Well, in logotherapy, the patient sits up straight and has to listen to things that are on occasion hard to hear." The colleague had just described psychoanalysis to him in the following terms: in psychoanalysis, the patient lies down on a couch and tells you things that are on occasions hard to say. Franklin explains that one of the first questions he would ask his patients was, "Why do you not commit suicide?" Usually the patient found good reasons not to and was able to carry on. What then does logotherapy do? The answer is pretty clear. It helps you find reason to live. Logotherapy pushes patients to consciously discover their life's purpose in order to confront their neurosis. Topic 1: The search for meaning. The search for purpose became a personal driving force that allowed Frankl to achieve his goals. The process of logotherapy can be summarized in these 5 steps. Number 1: a person feels empty, frustrated, or anxious. Number 2: the therapist shows him that what he is feeling is the desire to have a meaningful life. Number 3, the patient discovers his life's purpose. Number 4, of his own free will, the patient decides to accept or reject that destiny. And number 5, this newfound passion for life helps him overcome obstacles and sorrows. Frankl himself would live and die for his principles and ideals. His experiences as a prisoner at Auschwitz showed him that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. It was something he had to go through alone, without any help, and it inspired him for the rest of his life. Number 2, fight for yourself. Existential frustration arises when our life is without purpose or when that purpose is skewed. In Franklin's view, however, there is no need to see this frustration as an anomaly or a symptom of neurosis. Instead, it can be a positive thing, a catalyst for change. Logotherapy does not see this frustration as mental illness, the way other forms of therapy do, but rather as spiritual anguish, a natural and beneficial phenomenon that drives those who suffer from it to seek a cure, whether on their own or with the help of others, and in doing so to find greater satisfaction in life. It helps them change their own destiny. Logotherapy enters the picture if the person needs help doing this. If he needs guidance in discovering his life's purpose and later in overcoming conflicts so he can keep moving towards his objectives. Franklin believed that our health depends on the natural tension that comes from comparing what we have accomplished so far with what we had like to achieve in the future. What we need then is not a peaceful existence, but a challenge we can strive to meet by applying all the skills at our disposal. Existential crisis, on the other hand, is typical of modern societies in which people do what they are told to do or what others do rather than what they want to do. They often try to fill the gap between what is expected of them and what they want for themselves with economic power or physical pleasure, or by numbing their senses. Number 3, case study, Viktor Frankl. In German concentration camps, as in those that would later be built in Japan and Korea, psychiatrists confirmed that the prisoners with the greatest chance of survival were those who had things they wanted to accomplish outside the camp, those who felt a strong need to get out of there alive. This was true of Frankl, who after being released and successfully developing the school of logotherapy realized he had been the first patient of his own practice. Frankl had a goal to achieve and it made him persevere. He arrived at Auschwitz carrying a manuscript that contained all the theories and research he had compiled over the course of his career, ready for publication. When it was confiscated, he felt compelled to write it all over again, and that need drove him and gave his life meaning amid the constant horror and doubt of the concentration camp, so much so that over the years, and especially when he fell ill with typhus, he would jot down fragments and keywords from the lost work on any scrap of paper he found. Number 4. Morita Therapy. In the same decade that logotherapy came into being, a few years earlier, in fact, Shoma Morita created his own purpose centered therapy in Japan. It proved to be effective in the treatment of neurosis, obsessive compulsive disorder, and post traumatic stress. In addition to being a psychotherapist, Shoma Morito was a Zen Buddhist, and his therapy left a lasting spiritual mark on Japan. Many Western forms of therapy focus on controlling or modifying the patient's emotions. In the West, we tend to believe that what we think influences how we feel, which in turn influences how we act. In contrast, Morita therapy focuses on teaching patients to accept their emotions without trying to control them, since their feelings will change as a result of their actions. In addition to accepting the patient's emotions, Morita therapy seeks to create new emotions on the basis of actions. According to Morita, these emotions are learned through experience and repetition. Morita therapy is not meant to eliminate symptoms. Instead, it teaches us to accept our desires, anxieties, fears, and worries and let them go. Morita explained the idea of letting go of negative feelings with the following fable. A donkey that is tied to a post by a rope will keep walking around the post in an attempt to free itself, only to become more immobilized and attached to the post. Number 5. Naiken Meditation. Morita was a great Zen master of Naiken introspective meditation. Much of his therapy draws on his knowledge and mastery of this school, which centers on 3 questions the individual must ask him or herself. Number 1. What have I received from person X? Number 2. What have I given to person X? And 3. What problems have I caused person X? Through these reflections, we stop identifying others as the cause of our problems and deepen our own sense of responsibility. As Morita said, if you are angry and want to fight, think about it for 3 days before coming to blows. After 3 days, the intense desire to fight will pass on its own. Let's summarize the topics we have revised under Part 3, How to Live Longer and Better by Finding Your Purpose. Number 1, the search for meaning. Number 2, fight for yourself. Number 3, case study Viktor Frankl. Number 4, Morita Therapy. And number 5, Naiken Meditation.
Thank you for watching our video. Please like and subscribe. Also press on the bell notification button for more videos like these. Until next time, take care and bye.